Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, Bucko fans, to our off-season review. I am in studio with Jay Dash. You're listening to The Spread. Dash, what do you think's going on with these Buccos? The moves they're making in the offseason, they any good? They let Russell Martin go?
Well,
they didn't sign Stanton?
Yeah, they didn't sign Stanton, so their offseason
is beat.
They
might as well just block them.
No, but really, yeah, everybody wanted Russell Martin to come back, but seriously, 5 years, $82 million, they weren't going to do that. Everybody knew they weren't going to do that, and I'm not going to hate on their move at catcher just yet because everybody was hating on Russell Martin when they brought him in because he didn't look that like he was that great of a catcher, really, and he turned out to be a great catcher for us. So let's see what Cervelli does. But other than that, they really haven't done much this offseason.
I'm going to make one quick point about the Russell Martin contract, and I want you to hear me out before you tell me I'm wrong. They could have done the contract as far as money goes. They have the money, but you're right that they won't, and that they shouldn't have. But all these people that say they couldn't have done the contract, it was too much money, they don't know what the bleep they're talking about because Nutting's the 10th richest owner in baseball. So if they wanted to, the money's there, but they don't. That's not the way the Pirates run their organization. They don't just throw money at things and hope it works.
And Russell Martin went home to his hometown, Toronto. Right. So good for him. Hopefully he has a good 5 years to end his career.
Yeah, I wish him well. He was a great
I doubt that happens. Maybe I'd say 2 years he might be good, and then he starts to tail off.
Aren't the Blue Jays in the American League?
Yeah.
Well, he could be a designated hitter for a little bit. I know he doesn't have big stats, but he was clutch. So if he could give you some clutch hits late in his career, you know what I mean, even that would help out. So it's not a complete loss.
But other than that, the Pirates, their biggest signing that everybody loves because this is Pittsburgh is A.J. Burnett.
Please believe they should have just kept him last year.
I disagree, and I disagreed they should have traded for him during the season. And I'm not going to say I disagree with this contract, though, because it is only $8.5 million, whereas last year, if you'd have brought him in, you'd have had to pay him $16 million this year.
I don't really care about Bob Nutting's wallet, honestly. Bob Nutting has made you care more about his money.
I understand what you're saying.
Even though he takes your money and makes it his money.
Is worth $16 million? That is the real question. If not, then they're spending their money the wrong way. They need to spend money, but they need to spend it the right way.
But are they going to spend it any other way? You're right that if they're going to put it to better use, they shouldn't give A.J. Burnett $16 million. But if they're not going to spend it at all, then I'd rather have A.J. Burnett.
They do need to spend some money, and they do need to add another pitcher for sure. They cannot go into the season with the pitching staff they have now. It'd be nice if they signed Francisco Liriano, let's say. That would be a nice signing. Or if not, maybe even I like Edinson Volquez. There's no reason they can't re-sign him.
Do you have a lot of faith in Liriano? He's never really put together, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight years of good baseball.
That's the scary thing about it. That's why I was surprised that he actually didn't take that. What's it?
Arbitration.
What was it? $16.5 million or something?
Like that. That's a lot of money.
If he doesn't. I guess he wants to sign a longer contract, though, because he knows if that would happen, he takes that arbitration, has a bad season, then he's not going to make any money.
Right.
So you can look at it both ways, but I don't know if he's going to make $16.5 million from anyone.
Maybe not per year, but if he can get like a 4-year, $40 million deal, wouldn't that be better than just 1 year, $16 million, and then tanking it and getting $5 million for the rest of his life?
Yeah, you can look at it that way, too. Definitely. But they definitely need to sign a pitcher, someone.
Well, as of right now, it would be what? Cole, then Burnett, right? And then maybe Worley in the gang.
Unfortunately, yeah, it would go Cole, Burnett, Morton, Worley, and I guess Locke. They have Compton and Pimentel, who they said they like as starters, but they're not sure about yet. And then they have the two big names in Taillon and Glasnow in their minor league system.
Why can't Glasnow play now?
Glasnow, he's just not ready. He might be by mid-season, but I would guess they would wait until one more year with him. But Taillon, I could see him making his major league debut towards the end of next year.
What if the Pirates hired Charlie Sheen to teach Glasnow how to wear thick-rimmed glasses and throw heaters like
this
Wild
dude,
Thing.
This dude already throws mad.
All right, see, then we just get Charlie Sheen to teach him how to do it right, and then he's money in the bank, dude. The Indians went to the World Series.
They did they? I
In the
thought they
second one.
lost in
Yeah,
the
they-
second one. Then they went to the minors after that.
That was all right. Jefferson Darcy was in that one.
Besides that, I mean, look at the Pirates' offense. I have no problem with it. Yeah,
You love it.
You might want to add another bat off the bench, but really, Pedro, Walker, Mercer, and Harrison to me is a nice infield. And then the outfield, if Polanco has a better year than he did last year, not that he was terrible last year, but he did fall off. He was only a rookie, though. But, I mean, Marte, Kutch, and Polanco, that sounds like a good outfield to me. So, really, maybe just a depth bat. They still have Snyder as their fourth outfielder, and Gabby is going to be their backup first baseman.
Are we still stuck with Tabata? Do we still have his contract?
Yeah, we did because we tried to get rid of him, but nobody took the contract, so we just put him in the minors.
Right, and then we had to bring him up late last year, right? He was playing in the playoff game.
Yeah, that was the worst move of all to me for the playoffs. Tabata should have not been in the game. They gave up on that game in the 6th inning when they brought him in.
He's garbage.
Yeah, I don't like Tabata either.
I don't like anybody on the Pirates.
But
But seriously, I don't know. You're way more sure of the Pirates lineup than I am. I think Alvarez is a big question mark at first base. Nothing to me says he knows how to play that position yet. I've read reports that say he doesn't even want to move to first base, and I know it's pretty much, bleep you. If you want to play, you're going to play there. That doesn't mean he's going to be happy.
Well, what he can do, he can play his way out. He can play first base, play well, and then somebody can trade for him in the AL, and he can go DH if that's what he wants to do.
Or he could pout like a little girl like some players do and just start to suck until we decide to dump him. And also, I like Walker at second. Mercer's
You got to look at
serviceable.
the rest of the league, though, man. The shortstop position, there's only like 2 or 3 elite shortstops.
I'm not ripping on Mercer. I'm about to rip on Harrison.
Oh, man.
I'm not sold on this dude. You have one good year and people think he's a godsend to baseball.
It's not necessarily that, man. He had a huge year, and you can't just say, okay, we don't trust you, so we're just going to throw you back as a backup. You got to give him the chance to start. Let's see if he comes out this year.
I get that you give him the chance to start, but I'm not sold that he's going to be any good. That's my point.
Well, I mean,
I'm not saying 100% he's going to be bad, but I'm still 50-50 on it.
I disagree with your opinion, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
You better believe it.
Anyways, let's move on here to maybe some of the rest of the league. What's going on in free agency and acquisitions and whatnot. The Detroit Tigers, they're playing the win now. They're signing all their players. They re-signed Victor Martinez. He's pretty old. You're not sure what you're going to get out of him, but he had a huge year last year, and they're trying to win now. So re-signing him for a hefty contract, I mean, there's nothing you can say besides it's win now move.
Yeah, Detroit's totally opposite of what the Pirates are doing. I'm not saying they're doing the right thing. I'm just saying they're like at the polar opposite of how to run an organization. They got Victor Martinez. They got what's the Cabrera? What's Miguel Cabrera. Verlander signed a long deal. They keep giving these guys that are proven veterans.
Verlander actually didn't look that great this season.
Right. Well, that's my point.
Though.
These
But
guys
they
are
actually
all
have better pitchers than that. Max Scherzer's a beast.
But isn't he a free agent, or is he?
I don't believe
got
so,
1
no.
year. I swear I read something that said he wanted to sign with the Yankees.
I'm sure he does eventually.
Probably everybody wants to sign with the Yankees. But my point is, Detroit, they're going to fall off all at once it happens. These guys are all going to hit the wall right around the same time of their career, and they're going to be stuck with these big contracts, and Detroit's going to go into a downward spiral for a couple of years. Only very few organizations know how to run that smoothly. The Cardinals are one of the best at it. They can give out big contracts somehow and still manage to keep everything under control and never really have those long stretches of bad years, at least not in my lifetime.
Here's another move that you'll probably like. You might not know the guy. The Athletics signed a pretty good first base DH in Billy Butler. He had a down season for KC last year, but the season before that, he had a huge season, his breakout year actually, and he's still pretty young. So this looks like a very good signing for the A's.
Was he better than Alvarez or Harrison?
Well, nah, I wouldn't say. So
Well, I think they both
he
suck,
doesn't have
so
the
then
power.
this dude's got to be garbage.
He doesn't have the power that Alvarez does, and if Harrison hits like he did last year, he doesn't have the average that Harrison does, but he's
So what does he do well?
He hits for some average, and he hits for some power, and he's just a good bat.
So he's average.
Yeah, he's not a great player. Billy Butler's a good player.
He's average.
Talking about great players, though, how about Giancarlo Stanton?
Huge deal. $325 million over 13 years. That kind of money would have made Dr. Evil happy.
Well, I hear it's a scam.
Yeah, according to Keith Olbermann, it's a scam. He went on a Mark Madden-style rant and just blasted the Marlins.
Yeah, what was he saying, the specifics of it? He's going to make a...
His biggest point is Stan's only going to make $107 million in the first 6 years.
That's
and then
terrible.
In the back years, he's going to make $218 million over the final 7. So
it's backloaded.
He's going to be but he's only going to be making around $21 million, $22 million a year for those last 7 years. And the average salary for a player of Carlos' stature...
I thought it was 31.
Or 31, I'm sorry, you're right. But the average salary of a player of Carlos' stature by that time is going to be making $40 to $45 million a year. So he's basically just saying Stanton took a deal with less money than he could have. He should have played out some more arbitration years and waited until, salaries inflated a little bit and then signed he could have got like a 13-year, $500 million deal if he'd have waited a few years.
Yes, but the thing about baseball is this money is guaranteed, so he guaranteed himself over the next a little over a decade $325 million. No matter how you break it down,
he could break his leg in game 1 of next year and never play again
for that money.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have taken it. What do you need more than $325 million? If you can't make $325 million
you
work for
you, you can turn $325 million into $1 billion. Just don't be an idiot.
You could get your rap career off the ground.
There you go. I bet you he can flow.
He has Latino rap. He's of the Latino culture.
So, yeah, saying this is a scam just doesn't make sense to me. He took a backloaded contract. Yes, it is a very long deal. He could have made more money if he signed a shorter contract, but he wanted to guarantee himself $325 million.
I don't really know if he is actually from Latin America or if his name is just,
well,
Latin
listen,
American.
When he came into the league, his name was Jonathan Stanton.
Right. Well, maybe he has family, is my point down, in Latin America or whatever, and he wants to be closer to him in Miami. It's the closest place you could get to him as far as an American team. He may like the culture down there. He likes the team. They told him they're going to put together a winning team and chase a title. So he gives the team a team-friendly deal. People are always saying that players take too much money and they're selfish and they need to be more team-friendly. Then this guy takes a deal that helps his team out, and Olbermann blasts him in the media. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think the scam part about it is the Marlins saying they're trying to put together another team like this. Hasn't these players learned? Look at Jose Reyes. He signed a huge contract with him, and they trade him like 6 months later.
The Marlins like to put together a team every few years, win one World Series, and then dump it off the next year.
Yeah, I have no problem with how they do that either, but if Stanton really thinks that he's going to stick around for 13 years, he's out of his mind.
No, he's not going to be. He'll be there for 6 years, and he'll either opt out or they'll trade him to the Yankees.
I'd be surprised if it's 6. They'll probably ask him in a year or two if he wants dealt, and he'll probably say sure, and then he'll be dealt.
Maybe to the Cuban Missiles.
The Cuban Missiles.
The new expansion team.
It'll probably be the New York Yankees. But anyways, let's move on. How about this Jason Heyward trade to the Cardinals? That was a big move after Oscar Taveras was killed in that car wreck. That left an opening in St. Louis's outfield, and they filled it in a big way with Jason Heyward. This guy is a beast.
Oscar Taveras' family took over his Twitter account to thank all the fans for all their support and, their kind words to the family since that tragedy. So I thought that was nice. I just wanted to mention that.
How'd they get his password?
I'm sure somebody was able to hack it. It's not that hard.
Ridiculous.
Well, it's not like they did it to invade his privacy, man. They're just trying to thank fans for saying nice stuff. It's not like the government's scamming them or anything.
But yeah,
Lordy.
The Cardinals traded Shelby Miller, though, which they thought was a big piece of their future starting rotation. But they do this a lot. They're not worried about keeping anybody around. They just bring guys in, send guys out. They don't care. They just keep winning every year. And Jason Heyward's going to be a big piece of this team.
Cardinals know what they're doing. They win, they don't win, maybe 1 or 2 years, they win again.
It's been a long time since they haven't won, it seems like.
They're pretty beasts.
what other moves were made? Nothing this offseason is going on. Zach Duke.
Zach
Everybody
Duke.
knows Zach Duke.
Oh, everybody loves Zach Duke. He had 1/3 of a great season for the Pirates and then was garbage the rest of his Pirates career, and he gets a 3-year, $15 million deal. I wish I could be as bad at my job as he is at his job and get paid $15 million.
Actually, though, he was a reliever for the Brewers last year, and his ERA was really low. It might have been low twos, maybe even in the ones.
My ERA is 0, okay, and I didn't get no $15 million deal.
But
Nobody's ever got a hit off of me once in the major leagues.
Yeah, because you got a clicky shoulder and you never made it there.
Just because I never pitched there doesn't mean my ERA is not 0.
One other move, I guess, the Diamondbacks, they're a terrible team, but Jeremy Hellickson, he had a lot of upside early in his career, and he had a terrible year last season. Maybe the Diamondbacks can turn him around, and this guy can start to get his career going in the right way again. I actually liked Jeremy Hellickson a few years ago and thought he was going to be a big-time pitcher, but he's never turned into it yet. Maybe he can now in Arizona. Another thing is the Dodgers are trying to get rid of either Carl Crawford or Matt Kemp. I would love to see Matt Kemp go somewhere other than
Kemp.
LA, because first of all, I have him on my Dynasty fantasy team, and I hate Don Mattingly, and LA is a pitcher's park, so I want to see him go somewhere like New York and hit a bunch of home runs.
What if the Pirates trade him Josh Harrison for Matt Kemp? Would they do that deal?
Oh, man, it would be hard to say no to that, but the problem is Matt Kemp's contract is horrible. It's a horrible contract. He does not play up to the contract that he signed.
Again, I'm not worried about Nutting's money, but I'm just worried about winning.
Yeah, if he could play third base, but he can't. The Pirates would say no, and I bet you the Dodgers might say yes, though. Because they would get a cheap third baseman. They actually need a third baseman right now.
I'd give him Harrison for Kemp any day.
If we needed an outfielder, I'd think about
yay!
it.
Bye. But
that's pretty much it. The Dodgers, they're going to be getting rid of Hanley Ramirez, too. He may go to
Seattle.
He could go to the Yankees. Either way, I have him, too, so I want to see him get out of L.A. I hate L.A.
You have him on your fantasy team?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you want all these guys to go to New York. You just want to get points and win your fantasy games.
Yeah, just go to the smallest park and hit home runs.
That wraps up our Bucko off-season review. Thanks for listening, fans. Thanks for hanging out with me, Dash. You can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Any questions you have, any updates you want to get, check out our Facebook page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Live, eat, sleep, breathe the spread. Love sports. Love life. Peace out.
Peace.